The North won the Civil War because it was a more industrialized and populous society. When the war came north, the North had a total population of 22 million people, which 1.3 million worked as industrial workers. The South had a significantly less amount of factories, people, and resources, resulting in the North's advantage. 8 million of the 27 million whites in the 1860 census lived in slave-owning states in the South. Meanwhile, the North's manpower increased greatly from 1862 to 1865. Around 500,000 men to around 600,000 enlisted in the war because of the bounty of $800 to $1,000 given to soldiers. The North also included around 180,000 foreigners that made up only 20% of the Union Army. Therefore, the North's manpower gave them a huge advantage compared to the 8 million whites eligible for being a soldier in the Confederacy.
The draft in the North and the South was obviously not popular, but since the North offered $800 to $1,000 in bounties, it gave them an upper hand, which resulted in the North's success.
The South believed that their cotton would help them win the war, but from 1860 to 1861, cotton grew increasingly and other countries didn't need them anymore. Luckily for the North, this was not a problem, because with the help of their railroads and great industries, they had the war wrapped around their fingers. Having access to more than 22,000 miles of track gave the North a huge advantage over the South, who only had 9,000 miles of track. With these excellent railroad links, the North was able to transport soldiers and supplies back and forth repeatedly whenever they pleased. The control of railroads that the North had gave them access to fast and inexpensive transportation at any time, which was very beneficial considering that it saved the North a lot of money to spend on other necessities. Along with the North's superior railroads, the industries that the North held proved to be of great use to them at the time of war. The North's industrial production was valued at $1.5 billion versus $155 million for the South. With all this money, the North was able to make vessel ships that played a part in their plan to control the river systems. We propose a powerful movement down the Mississippi to the ocean. A.S. General Winfield Scott. With such control, the North was able to impose a blockade on the Atlantic coast that prevented the passage of goods, supplies, and weaponry to the South. The passing of the forts was one of the most awful sights and events I ever saw. Letter of David Farragut to the Assistant Naval Security.
The fact that the North was constantly upgrading their technology led them to a victorious ending. Their massive railroads and the modernized weapons definitely gave them a big advantage.
In the end, industrialization and a populous society gave the North a leading hand in victory. The South never really stood a chance against the North because it never had all the resources or the massive support that the North did.